Where?
Riverside. My friend just Snapchat. He's like, it's all sunny here.
All these clouds.
Yeah.
Got you.
I'm just a baby at Free City. I cannot handle it.
I mean,
Maybe it's because I'm dark. I don't know. Yeah, I can't handle it.
when you get skinny, that's just
I don't know. My hair will be like, no. Can't do it either.
Hey. Oh, look, it's CEC.
Nicole, can you hear me?
Yes.
Depending on how long this meeting runs, can you hear me?
Okay, so I can hear you, but the problem is it's like really noisy, so I can't hear you.
Okay, let me try it.
No, like this room is noisy, not you.
Basically, depending on how long this run, I may or may not be. Can you hear me? Stop, Christina.
Can everybody quiet down just really quick while we fix the USAC live? Yes, thank you. Go ahead.
Depending on how long this meeting runs, I may not be able to stay the whole time, but I'm going to just try and just stay here, which is what I'm going to say.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Just turn on your headphones and mute it when you're not speaking.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
you apply for it after that.
I know. We'll see.
When it says. Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, wait.
Never again will I touch it.
So, like, my question. Oh.
Oh my God. I'm so positive.
Yeah, everyone's.
What is it?
Yeah.
It's just like, I know, but wait, like, take your hand away. But wait, I want more.
Awesome, Nicole's back. So, we're going to call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to do a vocal roll call of attendance. So, President, IVP, EVP.
Here.
Gen Rep 1. Here. Gen Rep 2. Here. Gen Rep 3.
President.
AAC.
Here.
CEC.
Here.
CSC. CAC. Facilities. Here. Financial supports. Here. SWC. Here. TSR. Is Adriana, are you here? Is your I just want to make sure your volume's working. No?
She just
She doesn't have-
okay. I don't think she has.
Okay, cool. In that case, can someone just keep an eye when we're communicating just so she can always be a part of it? Okay. Great. So we are going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the agenda. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, can we have a motion to approve the agenda? Oh, yes. Chloe's like you saying there is an, oh, great, never mind. Can we get a motion to approve the agenda? Great, thank you. Second? Thank you. All in favor? We'll have to do vocal, sorry, one more time. For the sake of consistency. EVP?
Yes.
Gen Rep 1?
Yes.
Gen Rep 2?
Yes.
Gen Rep 3?
Yes.
AAC?
Yep.
CEC?
Yep.
CSC? Great. Facilities?
Yes.
And SWC?
Here.
Yeah. Great, so the agenda is approved. Now we're moving on to the approval of the minutes from July 18th, 2017. Hopefully everyone saw that there was a new version of that sent out earlier today. Did everyone have a chance to look over the minutes? Great. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes from July 18th, 2017?
I move to approve the minutes from July 18th.
Thank you, Justin. Second. Thank you, Christina. I'm going to go through the vocal roll call again. EVP?
Yes.
Chloe? Great. Gen Rep 1?
Yes.
Gen Rep 2?
Yes.
Gen Rep 3? AAC?
Yeah.
CEC?
Yep.
CSC?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Facilities?
Yes.
And SWC?
Yes.
Great, seeing as all council members voted affirmatively, we will approve the minutes from July 18, 2017. We're now going to move to public comment. Just a reminder, we have 30 minutes allotted for public comment, 2 minutes for every public commenter. We'll begin with audio-only public comment. We can cover that up. Thank you, Nicole. We're going to begin here. It doesn't seem like we have many public commenters.
Oh.
We're now going to move on to audio and visual public comment. Thank you, Nicole. Just for the sake of consistency, we're going to go around one time. Seeing none, that is the conclusion of our public comment section for tonight. We were now going to move on to appointments. So there are 2 appointments tonight. We have Leslie here for CPC, and then Elena is going to be Skyping in from Hong Kong for the comp board position. Does anyone need a reminder of what the Campus Programs Committee does? Great. Just as a reminder, ARC was not able to meet with these 2 appointments tonight. However, since their applications and resumes were sent out a week in advance, we are allowed to bypass ARC. So without further ado, Leslie, I'm going to invite you to the front of the room or wherever you're comfortable. Leslie has a handout for each of us that we can hopefully all share. There are 10 copies, so feel free to pass those out now. So just a reminder for you, we're going to have 10 seconds to do, 1 minute to do an introduction. What do you get 10 seconds left here? We'll just finish up. We'll then move into hello, 5-minute question and answer. We'll wait for everyone to
Just for reference, the sheets passed around are just a couple of changes that I'd like to implement.
Can we give Leslie her
We're in the process of changing, so that's a reference, and it includes a brief summary of what CPC is, and how much funds they have.
So give me 1 second just to pull the timer for you.
Alrighty, so to begin, I am Leslie. I am an incoming, well, not incoming, I'm a second year studying political science and international and developmental studies. And well, one of the primary reasons why I decided to apply for CPC in itself was in order to basically implement changes that need to be made. For one, the things that CPC does are not how would I say it, designed for individuals who possess disabilities, and these consist both verbal and physical disabilities. For one, they are graded based on the performance at such hearings, which in fact actually determines the rank in form of organizations and how such funds are allocated. So in regards to this issue at hand, I really wanted to apply and basically see that these needs are met. Furthermore, I decided to apply because I myself was actually a finance director for a new club, a new organization that did not apply for this fund specifically, but rather CAC. And basically, I'd like to move towards improvement of just equal and equitable funds here at UCLA, and that's my primary purpose. And overall, thank you for taking the time to see me today.
Thank you so much, Leslie. We're now going to move into a 5-minute question and answer with council, beginning now. Does anybody have any questions for Leslie? Yes, Vivian.
What improvements do you want to make specifically to the campus programs committee?
So for one, as I mentioned, their inability to actually meet the needs of people that are disabled within our community that attend these hearings. For example, if there was an organization that particularly wanted to educate individuals about the different types of disabilities and how UCLA can improve such disabilities, and the member being present at the hearing had a disability themselves, it'd be graded based on their performance. And if the performance for some facts such as verbal disability were basically graded as a bad performance, that election of the fund would be based on such performance. As a result, I believe that there's a need to redesign the application process. Furthermore, as listed, I would also like to implement an easier, more feasible way to contact advisors between applicants and results by holding a seminar, perhaps office hours with individuals of the community itself who review these applications. Because although advisors are also a part of the committee when hearing these hearings, it's also important to take into the fact that most of these applicants might be first-time applicants and really don't know what to do. I myself, as a first-time applicant for CAC, had no idea and made a couple of mistakes when applying. We were allocated funds. However, it'd be more accessible and offer a more equal opportunity for all students, organizations to apply for these funds. So those are two of the main issues I'd like to aid and commence work on.
Yeah, Zara?
Could you speak more as to how you'd like to change the rubric that evaluates the performance of the hearing?
Okay, so at this point in the rubric itself, 15% of that rubric is out of 100%, 15% of the rubric itself consists of the performance. So as I said before, I would like to eliminate the proportion of the hearing itself that is evaluated and put towards the allocation of funding, or rearrange the rubric where it's more based on the design and the purpose of the organization itself and why they want to hold this event. I did speak to somebody that was previously in CBC and they said they already to some extent implement this. However, the thing is that their guidelines when actually reviewing applications is not as strict as the actual application indicates. As a result, they allow leeway. However, when defining things like fair and equal resources, well, not equal resources, but rather a fair distribution of funds, it's better to actually have a defined way to rather allocate these funds. It means that rather, as our current funding process implies, we do things based on equity, rather than equality. The application process itself is based on equality in the forms that we provide each individual with the same form, provided with the same amount of time in regards to the hearing. However, when actually distributing these funds, they're not distributed in an equal manner, but basically in a more efficient manner as on a need-made basis.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Leslie? Yeah, can you talk about Youth of the United States and what that was? Like, can you elaborate on what that was?
So this is actually a new club here at UCLA, and the founders are both politically involved. So this club actually focused on the concept of bringing civic engagement to high school students in impoverished communities. Our current site has around 75% of underrepresented backgrounds, and 20% of them are actually foster children. So we like to go out and actually teach people not teach people, but make them aware of all these political ways to be involved in the community, and furthermore, kind of nourish their sense of identity within politics itself, and kind of create the concept of a higher education, or even going into the political field itself through any government-based job. So that's basically what that foundation is primarily working towards.
Thank you. Question? Yeah, Christina?
Is there a difference between your proposed change to redesign the hearing portion of the application process and changing the rubric, which is part of the application process?
So there is. So as I mentioned before, the hearing is a portion of the rubric.
Right.
However, the rubric itself is framed in such a way where the committee itself makes most of their decisions before actually going to the hearing. I was informed that around 70% of the time, the committee itself has its mind made up of allocation of resources before the actual hearing. And it was made point that sometimes they do change their allocation of funds based on the hearing. However, it seems that the hearing itself within the rubric is not really necessary, or rather should be incorporated in a different manner, as in they shouldn't come to determine their funding allocations and a full-on vote before the hearing, and should rather discuss it furthermore afterwards.
So that is the end of the 5-minute Q&A period, unless there's a motion to extend. Seeing none, we're now 1 minute to a conclusion. I will hit the gavel for stating 10 seconds left and just grab back whenever you're ready.
As I said before, these are some of the changes that I would like to implement. I really do believe that funding is vital in any programming here at UCLA, even more when such programming, especially in the case of this fund, deals with educational and cultural values. We at UCLA value the concept of diversity and really try to nourish it. And as a result, I believe that it's very vital for CPC to further encourage individuals to apply to this fund, because currently they receive at the busiest period of the auction funding cycle, they only receive around 50 applications. And they have over $500,000 allocated to them as a funding group. So as a result, I believe it's very vital, but overall, I will continue to serve UCLA in my beliefs and try to push us forward. So overall, again, thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Leslie, this time we're going to move to deliberations. If more than welcome to stay in the room, you're also more than welcome to step outside, whatever you're comfortable with. Great. So since ARC wasn't able to conduct a hearing before reading the recommendation, so we'll now move into deliberations. Any discussion regarding the appointment? If there's no discussion, then does that mean that we're ready for a motion, or? Yeah,
She's great. I really like her. She has a lot of knowledge, and the points are good, much better than other ones that we saw.
Any other discussion? Yeah.
I mean, just to add on to that, I like that they actually bring in like a list of changes they want, foreseeable changes they want to implement. It just kind of helps their points not be lost in the whole like presenting mode. So I don't know, maybe we can recommend that everyone maybe do this, unless we get like a more condensed version of the applications. But this is like a good idea. So props to you, because like it really helps. But yeah. Okay. Do you need to write email?
She was a part of CPC previously.
No, she just had a club.
Yeah, okay.
Where, yeah.
Because I think both previous applicants that we appointed, they were both previously on CPC, right? And then they both talked about the internal ranking system.
Yeah.
So the internal ranking system, is that separate from the rubric, or?
They use the rubric in the internal system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think everyone kind of on the same page with like changing the rubric.
Yeah. Okay. That's it.
So if there's no further discussion, I will now entertain a motion. Wait, I just have, so I quickly sent in the group me, the paper that she brought, and I just wanna give, the members in the Google sorry, Hangout, yeah, maybe a little opportunity to read that over, maybe a couple, 2-3 minutes, just so that they know what's going on. But yeah, so check the group me, I sent a picture. Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there any discussion from the Skype? I apologize for not stepping in earlier. Seeing none, I will now again entertain a motion to appoint Leslie to the Campus Programs Committee.
I move to approve Leslie to the Campus Programs Committee.
Thank you. Second. Thank you, Christina. We're now going to do a vocal roll call again. 1 second, just to keep track of this. So EVP?
Yes.
Gen Rep 1?
Yeah.
Gen Rep 2?
Yes.
Gen Rep 3?
Yes.
AAC? CEC?
Yes.
CSC?
Yeah.
Great, thank you, Nicole. Facilities?
Yes.
SWC?
Yes.
Seeing as all voting council members voted affirmatively, Leslie, congratulations. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize, Ron. Ron?
Yeah.
Thank you. I apologize now, seeing as all voting council members have voted affirmatively. Congratulations, Leslie. Now, welcome to stand. Great. So our second appointment for tonight is Elena. Let me just, I anticipated we were going to go a little bit later than when we did, but I'll let her know that we're ready for her now.
She hasn't hopped on yet.
Okay. Thank
Oh, she's on now.
you. Does anyone need a reminder of what the communications board does? No? Great. So Elena is our appointment to the communications board. She's currently in Hong Kong, so she's going to be joining us via video call. Great. Hello. Make sure the sound works. Can you hear us well? Oh, there we go.
Can you start talking again? We can't hear you. No, we don't hear you. Are you on mute?
Oh my gosh.
Hello, can you hear us now? We can't hear you. Guess we could try that. That might be kind of
Yeah.
hard, but.
Okay, Elena, do you have your Facebook open right now? Maybe we'll try video chat that way. I have her. Let's see. We might have to do it from that computer. I just want to see if the sound works here.
Sure. Yeah, because I
Can
think
y'all
the
even
sound
see
working on
your-
this end, I think it's just her. Yeah. There's the mic's not picking it up.
Hello? Yes. That sounds making it worse. So we're going to close the Google Hangout. Perfect. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear all of you.
Great. Let me, I can even just do this. Oh, would someone mind keeping time on that?
She hopped off
How's that? Can everyone hear? Yes? Well, do you mind saying something just so we can see if the people on Skype can hear you as well? Can you all hear? Yes? Ish?
Maybe
Hold the phone next.
Okay, yeah, do that.
Okay. Alana, will you say something? Can you all hear? That's a good idea. Try again.
Hello.
That's good.
It's good?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay, solid.
Okay, so
Perfect.
Alana, thanks so much for joining us. I know you're on the other side of the world, so we really appreciate it. Just to let you know how this is gonna go, we're gonna have 1 minute for you to do an introduction. Whenever you have 10 seconds left, I'm gonna hit the gavel to the table like this. And at that point, just finish up whatever sentence you're on. We'll then move into a 5-minute question and answer with the council, and then move into a 1-minute conclusion. Does that sound good? Great, so does someone have a
I
timer?
can take time.
You can take time? Great, so Zara, will you then?
It's a minute? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You can do it.
Okay.
So, Elena, whenever you're ready, Zara will start the timer.
Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. My name is Lena Yu, and I'm a rising second year at UCLA, and I was born and raised in Hong Kong, and I just wanted to use this introduction to kind of explain why I applied for this position. And ever since I was young, I've always been very interested in the marketing and communications field, and it's definitely something I'm interested in pursuing in the future. Right now, I'm working on an internship in Hong Kong, and this is the second internship I've done in the field, so it is something I'm very serious about. And when I was looking for jobs in the coming year, I was looking for leadership roles that were in this field, but also extended beyond leadership roles in student-run organizations. Next year, I'm going to be the social media marketing director for both the Body Image Task Force and Burn Consent Coalition. So it is something I'm very passionate about, and something that I'm definitely willing to invest time in. I also understand the importance of having an independent student media on our campus to ensure that all the cultural realities on campus are being fairly reflected, and all these views are being equally distributed amongst the students in a very equitable manner.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. You'll have more time to tell us a little bit more about your vision and your goals moving forward. So, Zara, if you can start a timer for 5 minutes as well, please.
Okay.
Great. So we're now moving into a 5-minute question and answer period for the council. Any questions? Yes, Divya.
Do you have any experience with student media?
Can you do that again?
Do you have any experience with student media?
Although I haven't been in any of the student media organizations on campus, I've already started reaching out to them to try and learn more about their organization, like about their about the media, and I've also tried to do more research about them as well, so I am more aware of their whole situation, the readership, their projected successes and challenges of the coming year. So while I have no direct experience being in any of these organizations, it is something that I am very interested in, and I'm hoping to learn more about in the coming years.
I have two questions. Can you hear me okay?
So Chloe, please.
Yeah, so there's really two questions on what entities with media have you.
So Chloe, your question, your volume's coming out a little weird. Would you mind just typing it for us and we can just say it out loud for you? Anyone see that? It says, what entities in student media have you reached out to?
I reached out to all 11 of the ones that the communication board is associated with, and I have heard back and have been communicating with only a couple because they have started to reply to me. So I have emailed every single one, but I've been talking to the editor-in-chief, Mackenzie Posey of the Daily Bruins, and also of Mia Brightfield, and also spoke to someone, Maddie Gavin, the general manager of UCLA Radio. So I have been keeping tabs on where they are in terms of their successes and challenges, and I am keeping all this information down. And if I were fortunate enough to gain this role, I would use the summer to start thinking of possible solutions to the challenges they may face that may be greater than the Republican publications themselves that may also extend to all the other media on campus.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, she's another.
Okay.
How would you promote and maintain the financial solvency of student media, specifically on the context of print journalism?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
How would you promote and maintain the financial solvency of student media, specifically on the context of print journalism?
Of print journalism?
Yeah.
Well, there are a couple ideas that I've thought of so far, and they kind of revolve around advertising tactics and also ensuring that the media is taking full advantage of multimedia, different forms of multimedia and quality control. So I had an idea for possibly opening newsstands on campus to make these publications more accessible and available to everybody on campus. So if they're not able to go to one of the events where they distribute magazines, students on campus will still be able to have access to these publications, and especially publications they may have never even heard of. So that would definitely help with print as well, because it encourages students to pick up a copy of the magazine. But also in terms of advertising, I was reading through the ASUCLA Communication Board meeting minutes, and in October 2016, the interim director was talking about how they sent out an email to all the freshmen, which helped contribute to an increase in the applications for Brew Life that year. So definitely working on advertising to incoming students and also the other students at UCLA through different ways as well. Email could definitely be one of them, but also taking full advantage of multimedia. For example, using platforms that are already very successful, using these to promote the publications and to target their specific audience. So especially because videos have a massive potential for growth, and media is becoming a lot more popular than written work nowadays. So possibly collaborating with individuals who work on videos and work on graphics to help encourage the student body to still be aware of the presence of these print media, but also slowly transition into the more digital side of it as well. So also ensuring that the quality of these publications, especially in print, is relevant, thought-provoking, inspiring, which will inspire the student body to continue wanting to invest their time into reading these prints in ways that online publications may not.
Okay, so that's the end of our 5-minute question and answer period. Sorry, it's not great. Is there a desire to extend? Yeah, Nicole?
I motion to extend the period by 4 minutes.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
Great, Divya. We're going to vote in this respect again. So we'll go down. Sorry about the noise. With the roll call again. EVP. So if anyone doesn't know, so Elena, the motion on the table is just to extend our question and answer period by 4 minutes. So EVP.
Yes.
Gen Rep 1.
Yeah.
Gen Rep 2.
Yes.
Gen Rep 3.
No.
AAC.
Yes.
CEC.
Yes.
CSC. Facilities.
Yeah.
Or she said yeah.
SWC.
Yeah.
And TSI. So this motion passes by a vote of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 1 to 1. So we are going to extend the question and answer period by 4 minutes, beginning now. Great.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure, Netta.
I'll type it in.
Your volume's actually coming through pretty well if you want to say it out loud.
Oh, okay, cool. What do you feel, in your own words, could you express the purpose behind the position and what your larger role in student media as a representative, as a voice for student media, what would that role be? Does that make sense?
Catch that?
I'm sorry. No, sorry, not the beginning part.
So Netta, maybe you should type it out if that's possible.
Okay.
Are there any other questions to be verbally shared? So Netta, your question will be next. We're going to go to Nicole really quickly, and we'll come back to Netta and then Justin.
I just have a quick question, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you mentioned that you wanted to expand newsstands around campus. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm just a little confused because there's already a bunch around campus. So can you explain why you would want to expand those? And I understand that they're mostly for like the Daily Bruin, but then under that they have a section for like other magazines. So can you just explain that a little bit?
Well, I guess like I have seen these newsstands around campus, but I guess making them even more prevalent than they are already. So perhaps having more areas that students do pass by. So for example, like Bruin Walk, we have a lot more there, or perhaps on the hill, so freshmen who are coming into UCLA will be exposed to these prints and and hopefully will encourage them to apply to join these published publications. So while I am aware that there are already newsstands on campus, hopefully introducing more, I do believe would be very beneficial for the student body, especially in terms of print publications.
Yeah, so I think Netta's question was next, then Justin, and we'll come back.
Netta hasn't typed it yet.
Netta hasn't typed it yet? In that case, oh, here it is. So Netta's question is, in your point of view, what is the purpose / role of this position? And why do you want to be Netta, correct me if I'm wrong, why do you want to be the voice of students on the communications board? Is that correct?
No. Is why do you want to be a voice for student media, given you have never been directly associated or involved in it?
So why do you want to be a voice on the communications board, given that you haven't been directly involved in the student media on the campus?
Of course. Well, I understand the position to be to promote. It would be my responsibility, or the communication board's responsibility, to promote and advance student communications media on campus. So this would help ensure that student media is credible, it's accurate, it's very equitable, and it's in all the content it presents to the campus. So I would understand it to be responsible for the management of publications, help setting budgets, help setting policies, selecting editors in chiefs. I'm very aware that this position does not make editorial decisions for the media outlets, nor is it involved in the day-to-day workings of each of the publications. And although I'm also aware that in this role I would not be allowed to be part of each of the media outlets. And why do I want to have a voice for publications, especially considering I've never been in it personally? Well, to be honest, I was looking into joining some of the magazines and prints next year. I just wanted to kind of acclimatize and get used to UCLA in terms of academics and social life before I joined the publications. But this opportunity presented itself, and I was extremely interested in it. So I know that's not an excuse for why I haven't actually joined the publications themselves, but I also believe that I believe that there's something very special about having a physical copy of a magazine or a newspaper or tablet that digital media will definitely never be able to replace. But I believe that everyone does have a right to have their own opinions. And however, they have to express these views in a very respectful manner, in a way that doesn't look down upon other people's views as well. And so I believe that I would be able to apply my skills of efficiency, timeliness, thoughtfulness, reliability, organization to the role when I haven't been able to do it in the print themselves.
So that is the end of the 4-minute period, Zara, if I'm correct? So I know there are a few others who wanted to ask questions. You're fine? Did you want to ask a question? We would have to extend the Q&A period.
Extend time by 1 minute and 25 seconds.
We do 1:30 just to round it off. Is that okay?
31 seconds. There is a second.
Because if there's a second, we can do 1:30. Yeah.
Can we extend it more? Just
Yeah,
because it takes a minute to process the question, so it's just
So let's do 2 minutes 35 seconds.
No, we don't have.
Let's-
We don't have to use all the time.
We don't have to, we don't have to. So let's maybe, I think Nicole's recommendation of, we can do 3 minutes, sure. It's run around. So Divya, that's a formal motion. Is there a second to extend the time period? Thank you, Nicole. We're going to do the vocal roll call, EVP. Sorry,
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Gen Rep 1? Yeah. Gen Rep 2?
Yes.
Gen Rep 3?
No.
AAC?
Yes.
CEC?
Yes.
CSC? Yes. Cool. Facilities? Yes. And SWC?
Yep.
And TSR? Yes. This motion passes by a vote of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 1. So we'll extend the time period by an additional 3 minutes. Is already the timer up? We're beginning now. Divya, you want to ask a question?
Yeah. So a lot of, for your newsstand type of initiative, a lot of mags don't even print, and the Daily Bruin actually has reduced the amount of print media that they're putting out. So I just don't see how your position as comm board would really support what you're talking about as an initial change of what you want to bring to the board. So can you talk about why you want to do that with more newsstands, and also where you get the funding to do that as well? And why you think comm board is the place to do that?
Okay, well, that was just one idea I had, although I didn't necessarily think about all the logistics in terms of financial backing of that as well. That was just one of the ideas that I wanted to propose or possibly think about. In terms of financial backing, honestly, I hadn't exactly thought of it because that wasn't one of my more thought through visions. It was just more of an idea that I had proposed. So I'm completely aware of how that idea itself might not be the most financially viable. And I'm also aware that because the communications board is not responsible for it specifically, that idea may not have been necessarily the most thought through, and so I apologize for bringing that up. But that was just one idea that I had regarding increasing the exposure of publications to the UCLA body. And so perhaps instead of starting up new newsstands, a way to kind of improve the existing ones to make them even more accessible to the UCLA body could definitely be something that I'm hoping that could be worked on without using financial resources, and finding alternative ways to help make those stands even more successful than they already are, and more successful than they already are currently.
So Elena, you made it seem as if the newsstand idea was something you came up with on the spot. Can you tell us a little bit more about your vision of what you plan to do as an undergrad rep on the communications board?
So my vision would just be, if I were fortunate enough to gain the position, I would definitely want to assist and help expanding the board's capabilities in terms of the strategies and objectives that the board comes up with in terms of working with student media. I would also want to help bring diversity to the board as well. Being from Hong Kong, I do believe that being exposed to different types of advertising tactics or media tactics in Southeast Asia would be definitely very beneficial to America. But also I would hopefully want to help improve the quality of board deliberations by using my creative skills or things that I think of as well. Like I'm hoping that I would be able to help bring something to the board that may not already exist there. And mainly I believe that in a time where print media's viability is being threatened by the increasing popularity of technology in this digital age, I do think that it's extremely important to think of new ways of preserving print media, especially even though in the long run that may not be necessarily that may not be fully successful. But I do think that personally, I would like to help strengthen the quality of the different publications to help ensure that their readers are just as engaged with the publications as they have been in the past, and hopefully extend this even more in the future as well. So, disregarding the newsstand idea, an example would be like quality control and the quality of the published content that would kind of hone in on their target audience more and think of new thought-provoking topics that would make the target audience want to read the publications for longer. So help working with the media to help them think of these new creative ideas, and also help think of ways that their publications can definitely sustain in the long run, even if print dies out eventually. I'm sorry, that was a really long answer.
Yeah, you're good. So that's the end of our format extension to the Q&A period. If there's no other questions, we're now going to move on to your conclusion. You'll have 1 minute to do your conclusion. Zara will hit the gavel to the table and you have 10 seconds left. So please wrap up, but begin whenever you're ready.
Okay, so I just wanted to say thank you so much for this opportunity as well. And I just want to let everybody know that I would consider myself to be an extremely quick learner and a very passionate and organized person. And so while I may not be fully qualified for this position, I am more than willing to invest the time and effort into gaining the skills necessary for this job to ensure that I am the best applicant. And my passion and organization will definitely show through, because I believe I'm a very organized person, so I like to plan out everything. I'm never late for deadlines. I always get a very good amount of sleep. I'm just a very organized person, and I am very serious about this role, so I am willing to do whatever it takes and whatever I need to do to be fully prepared and to put in the extraordinary amount of effort that is required of the role.
Great. Thank you so much, Elena. So, Elena, at this point, we're going to move into deliberation. You're more than welcome to stay on the video, so you won't be able to speak at this point. If you would like to stay, you can stay, or we can call you back in afterwards. What do you prefer? Okay, great. Perfect. Great. So if you could just mute your sound so we don't catch any of the outside sound, that would be great.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. So again, ARC did not meet with this candidate either, so you have no ARC recommendation, so we'll move straight into discussion.
I'll start. I appreciate the idea of moving away from print media and realizing the growing popularity of digital media. However, I do think that when Chloe asked the question about solvency for the financials regarding student media, that was what I was truly honing in on, because communications, we need to make sure they're viable, and I didn't get the answer that I was looking for, that would promote financial security for student media. And I had a couple of questions on how, as in the role of communications board, she would facilitate bringing diversity to the board. And I'll end it there.
Yeah, did you say him then?
I think it was interesting with the juxtaposition of the question of media and how it is like not being one of the, like Chloe's question in general, talking about the sustainability of print media, and her answer just didn't coincide with her idea. Whether or not it was well thought out, it was still said in her interview of the newsstands, when there are newsstands on Bruin Walk, there's newsstands right underneath the hill, and I just don't think that even a lot of magazines don't print. Like, so it's kind of, it's like an interesting way of trying to promote magazines when it won't be equitable for everyone. And it's having more newsstands is just that financial burden and something that we should be looking at as a Congress representative, whether or not that was looking with her and make ideas that she did really want to. But that's just how I feel.
You have a question or hand in the middle?
Well, there's definitely like passion and initiative, but I just think that a lot of her ideas weren't well thought through. And there may be some lack of understanding about like the role of the communications board, and some of the ideas were just kind of like vague in the initiatives that she talked about. And I do appreciate how she talked about, she's willing to do whatever it takes to learn, but I don't know if she's ready right now to take on this role. I maybe think that she would be better if she applied maybe like the next incoming year. But like with the passion and the initiative, it's all there. So
I should be this segura. I think she's definitely a really hardworking and passionate person, but and her ideas are really broad and really, I mean, I can tell that she really believes in what she is talking about, but I just feel like it's kind of vague and I don't see really concrete steps toward how to achieve those goals.
Mary, what's your hand up? I think, yeah, these sentiments have been echoed, but I also agree that she somewhat contradicted herself in that she said that she really valued the like print publications and she really valued like having that paper in your hand, but then also wanted to move away from print to digital. And so I just wasn't really sure about where the steps were for each of those goals. However, I do think that just looking over like her resume and her qualification, she's clearly very passionate about and has a lot of experience in the fields of communication and media and advertising. And I think that although, as she said, she may not be fully qualified currently, she possesses the skills to evolve into being a very qualified applicant for this role. Christina's hand up?
I want to ask a question to the council. Is it true that if you are on council, you can't be a part of any of the student media?
Yeah.
Because you're voting on the budget for those publications, and so doing so could constitute a conflict of interest. That's what it sounds
Is that not the same when we have people that are in like student organizations?
Yes, but it's written into communications board's bylaws. They like specifically ask for students not to. Whereas in other situations, there's language that allows those students to recuse themselves completely.
Gotcha, thank you.
Well, okay, so like after talking about the newsstands and that wasn't like, I guess the best idea. So I liked how you asked your question about, well, what other ideas do you have? And I was like about to like give in and see what she came up with. But even those ideas that she brought up then were still like, again, really vague and sort of just reiterating the question in a way that sounded like an answer. So I still don't know if she's necessarily fully prepared to take on the role of this communication board. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
I'll just end with saying.
Can you all hear?
Oh, go ahead.
Was that a yes?
Chloe, yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I will say that one ones that really made Elena stand out to me was when she was a general manager for coalition this past year. She was probably the most like outside member in the sense of initiative she took, always volunteering everything, and I think it really showed how quick and she is to adapt to new situations, particularly because sexual assault can be such a difficult issue to do work around, and so I think that's important to bring up. I will echo what Divya Nicole said though, in terms of I do think is a little bit concerning the lack of experience in student media, and certainly that shouldn't be a prerequisite since the previous comms board reps had media experience. But I think that if sophomore, I do wish that I just find that last experience a little bit concerning.
If I could just provide context as well. We've mentioned this a lot throughout the comm board appointment hearings that we've had so far. The reason why it's difficult to find students who have previously been involved with communications is because the majority of them really enjoy being part of the media side of things, and they're not willing to forego that experience for the more business side of it. So the student that you're trying to get for a communications board is going to be different than the average student in media, just because their interests lie in places. The communications board side of it is more so the business oversight policy side of it, whereas if you're part of the student media side, you're doing the writing, you're doing the investigation, you're doing the journalism. So there are different skill sets and different interests that lie in each of those responsibilities, and I just want to make sure we're aware of that moving forward. I will say too that hopefully everyone's had the opportunity to read Elena's application. It was extremely strong, and obviously we're basing our decisions both off of the question and the interview itself. But since you do have the application and the resume, I'd really encourage you all to read it as well. And this has been reiterated previously, and I will reiterate it once again. When we appoint students, we are appointing them not only as they are now, but for the willingness they have to learn the position and do the position well. I will say that the appointments directors did recommend Elena very strongly, because not only because they felt she had a strong grasp of what the communications board does. Mind you, yes, there was a slip up, and I think she recognized it herself and took back her recommendation initially, but also because of her previous engagements on this campus, her willingness to learn, her readiness to jump into this. I think her passion for communications and marketing that she conveyed, going back to the comment I made before about the skill set that it requires, I think was very much in line with what the communications board entails. I will remind you all as well, speaking of my personal experience as a 19-year-old on a board that oversaw a $75 million budget, I could not tell you that I understood finances beforehand, but there are mechanisms in place to ensure that every student on every board feels like they're able to make the most sound decisions, given that you are, as representative, liable for the decisions that you make. So I want us to keep that in mind and not fault a student necessarily for not knowing the intricacies of a budget or so, but also recognize that there's a lot of growth that goes along with these appointments, especially these 2-year appointments that require you to learn so much more and give you the time to do so. So I do want to put that on the table as well. Is there any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll now move into entertaining a motion. Is there a motion on the table? Yeah.
I motion to approve Elena to the communication kit.
Thank you, Nicole. Is there a second? Thank you, Kayla. We're now going to move into the vocal roll call, beginning with EVP.
Yes.
Gen Rep 1?
Yes.
Gen Rep 2?
No.
Gen Rep 3?
No.
AAC?
No.
CEC?
No.
CSC? Is that
No.
Okay. Facilities?
Yes.
Yes. SWC?
No.
And TSR?
No.
So unfortunately, Elena will not be appointed to the communications board by a vote of 3 to 7. I'm sorry, Elena. We do appreciate you taking the time out of your internship to join us today. We are very much looking forward to all the work that you will continue to do on campus in the coming year. So thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Have a great summer. Great, so that is the end of our appointments section of our agenda for tonight. We're now going to move into officer and member reports. Just to give you a quick update from my office, this past weekend I attended the Council of Presidents retreat. For anyone who doesn't know what Council of Presidents is, it's a formal body that made up of all student body presidents from the Undergraduate Student Association and Graduate Student Associations of all 10 campuses. It was a really fantastic opportunity to learn about the challenges and opportunities faced by different student associations on different campuses. We shared best practices. We recognized what trends were moving in on different campuses and how we could address those things together. We had the opportunity to meet with Paul Monhe, who's the incoming student regent, as well as Rafi Sands, who is the incoming student advisor. They also shared a bit about what their initiatives are for the coming year and what they plan to do. What else? Learn more about what Council of Presidents looks like. So just so you all know as well, at one point in every quarter, the presidents had the opportunity to travel to Oakland to meet with President Napolitano. I very much want you all to feel like in that moment I'm an extension of you as a council and our student body. So I'm looking forward to engaging with you further to set that agenda and ensure that our campus and our campus issues are conveyed appropriately. One of the really wonderful things that happened there as well was a great presentation that was done by Michael Skiles, who is the current GSA president here at UCLA, also serving as the graduate chair of the Council of Presidents, with help from Talar, who is from UCSA. It was a presentation on system-wide and statewide decision makers that I would really love to do for all of you, or send to all of you if you're interested in better understanding the UC overall and our state, whether it's the assembly or legislature. I'm sure Chloe can share a lot about that as well. I think it'd be helpful to us all, given that I think we all have this passion for policy and advocacy. In regards to appointments, I do really want to take a moment to thank the appointments directors who have officially put up a timeline for all the appointments. We felt that doing specific outreach appointments within a certain amount of time was more effective rather than doing it on a rolling basis. We felt like we'd get more applications that way, so the application is out. I'm happy to send it out again to you if you are all interested in that. Regarding Bruins hiring Bruins, we had a fantastic meeting earlier today with the Career Center. They're very excited about working with us to provide and identify more internship opportunities for students. Student Affairs is also looking at compiling and identifying opportunities for internships on campus. We're thinking a lot about right now how equity fits into internship opportunities, given that many of them are not stipended, and that precludes a lot of students who need that time to work from taking those opportunities. So we're looking at how we can do development and fundraising for that as well. And on the Bruins Fight Back platform specifically, at the Regents meeting their last meeting, there was an opportunity to look at amendments to existing sexual violence, sexual harassment policy. And both President Napolitano and Regent Perez both mentioned that they are eager to engage further about gaps in that policy to ensure that we can update it, to ensure that students are at the forefront of it. And part of that specifically really feels like it's in relation to what's been happening on our campus in regards to professors who, we all had heard about the Professor Peterberg incident last year, but looking at abuse of power and how power dynamics play into those relationships as it relates to sexual violence, sexual harassment. So those are the updates from the President's office. Are there any questions? Yeah.
Do you see Merced President have any updates on the atmosphere that's going on at their school?
Great question. So their association is really trying to take the lead at the VSU. So they have students who were shipped down to that city council meeting. I know Div attended. Hopefully you can update us about that as well. But it's interesting too because Salma, who's the president there, brought up looking at police accountability as one of our major initiatives as a council in the coming year, which I think is extremely important, and looking at it really from the accountability point of view. And so taking what was happening at Merced specifically and looking at how the trend applies across the stage. I had an impromptu conversation today with an officer from UCPD and seeing how that incident, what kind of conversation it started within our own police department. I think it's an important one for us to look at, and we should be reaching out to our ASU here on campus as well to see how that incident there is affecting them and how we can maybe facilitate opportunities should they choose to with our police department to ensure that incidents like that never happen, but that we can have more positive relations and accountability with each other. So thank you for following up with that. Any other questions?
What was the last version report about?
The regents are now looking into potentially amending the policy. And Kathleen Salvati, who's the Title IX coordinator for the UC system, is potentially looking into creating a task force of students, faculty members, and different stakeholders across the board to be really involved in that conversation. But I will say too that based on my engagement with the student regents at the time, there were a few UC Berkeley students who made a public comment at that meeting, and that public comment that they made at that meeting was referred back to throughout the conversation. So there is definitely brewing there, and there's the recognition of the need to update that policy. And I will let you know too, Divya, that one of the students who was proxying at the meeting was the academic affairs commissioner, basically at UC Merced and GSA side, and she was definitely interested in the academic buildings. I'm happy to pass along her information if you're interested. Wonderful. So if there are no other questions here, we're now going to move on to external vice president. Chloe, whenever you're ready.
Cool. So I'm going to follow a similar format as last time, starting with federal and then state, then local. So first, in terms of federal policy, I'm sure you all know that healthcare has been a really big deal the last couple of weeks. And in particular, there was kind of that scare today about possible repeal of the ACA. And the reason why that's relevant to our campus is that UC SHIP was specifically crafted in a way to meet certain Affordable Care Act standards. And so there's been a lot of concerns about what would happen to UC SHIP or even ASH services in a situation in which either the ACA is repealed or if funding to Medicaid is impacted, since about 10% of our students are on Medi-Cal. So I'm having conversations with student affairs as well as the ASH Center to figure out how these policies might potentially cause changes and where perhaps student advocacy can kind of impact these policy changes. And then the second thing I want to touch on is immigration. So August 15th is going to be the 5th anniversary of DACA. For those of you who perhaps don't know, so DACA basically provides work authorization and relief from deportation for undocumented students. Unfortunately, there are some court challenges to DACA right now, and the Trump administration has indicated that they will not defend DACA against those court challenges, meaning that there is a very real chance that DACA may expire as early as September 5th. And so last week, our office had a call with about seven or eight different campus organizations to get feedback in terms of building our legislative agenda. And so starting tomorrow, we're going to be moving forward with advocacy in terms of pushing for DACA continuation, as well as advocating for the DREAM Act, which would provide a pathway to citizenship for certain undocumented students. And there's going to be more local actions happening in the Los Angeles area coming up in August, and so we'll be providing transportation to those closer to the date of. Education this Friday will be also having another phone banking session specifically to advocate for more funding, since, as I mentioned last time, the skinny budget right now cuts a lot of funding from higher ed and also STEM. And then last thing in terms of federal advocacy is our office made the decision to send a really small delegation to attend the USSA National Student Congress this year. This is the first time in 3 years that we'll be sending students to this. And as some of you might know, 2 years ago, the EVP made the decision to pull UCLA out of USSA, which is essentially like a student government that represents campuses across the country. But even though we're no longer part of USSA, we still think it's really important to make sure that we're coordinating our national messaging with other campuses to maximize impact. And so we're looking to send about 3 or 4 students, and specifically students who've really established leadership within their communities on campus so they can bring back what they learn. So that application is due August 2nd. In terms of state stuff, just today, Governor Brown signed AB 214. So this is a food security bill that makes it easier for students to enroll in CalFresh. This is something that our office and UCSA has been lobbying on for the last half year or so. So it's great to see that pass. And then lastly, just in terms of campus stuff, I also had a meeting with the Career Center last week. And so we're working on creating a scholarship pipeline program for students who are pursuing advocacy-related internships both in DC and the LA area. And then finally, Chancellor Block represented the UCLA campus today at a briefing on Capitol Hill. So I was able to go to that. And basically, it was also about advocating for more STEM funding.
Great. Any questions for Chloe? Seeing none, thank you, Chloe. We're going to move on to AAC.
Oh, great. Okay. So we met with the Academic Senate for the first time, and their new chair was just appointed recently. That Senate decided to take on the Eco 360 experimental program. We are working to utilize evaluations from brew and casted classes compared to non-brew and casted classes, comparing grades, accessibility to these courses. So in retrospect, it's like if someone took a brew and casted class and they did an evaluation, we have access to those evaluations, and what we would do is on those certain evaluations, you would say like what grades you got or what grades you think you got, what you think of the class in general, things like that. And then we're also taking evaluations from classes that were not brew and casted, their grades, what they thought of the class, accessibility, things like that. So we're comparing the two, creating a data set, and then with that data set, we are going to be emailing professors at the beginning of fall with those numbers and seeing the grade variations and things like that. They're positive, obviously, in favor for brew and casting classes. So then hopefully that'll push more professors to brew and cast them. This data will be presented to professors each quarter to encourage them to utilize lecture casting. Again, we're experimenting with Eco 360 program during session C. So we have about 5 professors that are down to work up the kinks with us and understand how the program will work. And also one of the main concerns of the Academic Senate was it was interesting that because these lectures are coded, or captioned, they thought that many students would be able to hack the system and take over the captions and then release the captions to public. So I informed them that they could do the same thing by just taking their phone and videotaping Brewcast and posting that. So I think I shut down that conversation. But, which we must do with our admin sometimes, we'll be utilizing undergraduate council. We'll be utilizing the undergraduate council to ensure the diversity requirement is more holistic. we'll be sharing the ethnic studies programs to revisit the classes that are in the diversity coursework. We're doing this to ensure students are not scraping over the diversity requirement and having a rich coursework that comes back to the roots of the ethnic studies program, the reason why we have a diversity requirement in the first place. Finally, the Academic Guild is working on its creation. This will be the first time that every academic affairs director from the UC are on the same page, and moving forward as our UC is at a low point with tuition, retention, and the lack of accessibility to resources. We're also looking to create a winter conference about academic equity across the UC, helping to create a campaign for academic equity. And then finally, our academic appointments applications have been open for 3 days. And another note about UCSA, just for y'all that don't know, they were very instrumental in connecting us with all the West Coast campuses for when we had our UCLA USC walkout right after Trump was elected. So they're a great network of students that are able to really mobilize their campuses and really work together on the same page very quickly. So it's a great tool to have under your belt as a representative. Regardless of whether you're the EVP or any other representative on council, it's very important to make sure that we make those connections with those people there. So yeah.
2 questions. So for the 5 professors who are down to try out the new testing program, are they all a part of the academic senate, or are they just 5 professors?
They're random professors.
Okay.
I think one is part of the academic senate, but I haven't met all of them. It was kind of done by Jen Wright. So she had a couple of friends who were like, hey, you want to try this thing out? And they were like, yeah, whatever, Jan, sure. And so that's the world works for the most part.
And then if there are good results from that, for professors to, I guess, to kind of like increase the amount of broadcasting that's done, does that need to go through the academic center, or do professors just need to be like, yeah, we have to?
So yeah, they're just like, yeah.
Okay.
We send an email out, and it's just, what we're trying to do is transition from Brewcast to Eco 360. So it's going to be called like Brewcast presented by Eco 360. Just because Eco 360 is a program that allows simultaneous lecture casting, also 87.5% accuracy of captioning the lecture in general for students with disabilities. It's just a more accessible and more in the now type of program, because Brewcast, I don't know if y'all have used Brewcast in the past, but or have had your class Brewcast, but usually it takes a day for a whole 24 hours for the lecture to be casted, and then by that time a lot of discussions have already taken place. So a lot of students not only don't have the lecture, but now they're going to discussion not even knowing what the lecture is about. So are there any other questions? I have not a clean update about Merced, but they have a letter writing campaign, and I'll connect them, or I'll connect with them to see if they need any help with that, if we can write letters, or if it's just a UC Merced type of deal. But for the most part, the DA has still not filed the charges, and he is he's waiting. The history of the DA in Merced is he's interesting player because he doesn't take any sexual assault cases, Title IX cases at all, and does not file them in his office. He also takes a very long time to file any sort of paperwork anyways, and seeing that Merced is a small town, it's an interesting type of way of going about just talking to people at Merced. So this could be a longer fight than anticipated, but I mean, we've got people and players in a bunch of different areas, so if Merced does have another action, hopefully, I'm not sure if we will, if they're organizing another action, I'll make sure y'all know about it, and I'm sure it'll be blasted on social media as well. But we're just waiting to see whether the DA files them or not.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Divya. We're now moving on to SWC.
Okay, just a couple of things. Last week I was able to meet with a graduate student who's working with the Breathe Well pod of the Health Beat Campus Initiative, and she's working on drafting some sort of official statement from UCLA on cannabis policies since the recent legalization of marijuana. Just for clarification's sake, on this campus at least, because we are federally funded, we abide by those federal rules still, so we still can't smoke on this campus anyway to begin with. So there's that, and hopefully we'll be working with her to create some programs in the future. And then just another point of clarification regarding the Title IX coordinator applicants' open houses. There's a time change to tomorrow's, which is also the last open house, and that'll be happening from 1:20 to 2:05 p.m. at Murphy 2206. And then, let's see, we've also been recently working with the director of the LGBT Center to contribute and support the center itself and their student leadership efforts through a grant. And we just look forward to seeing the results of that in the future. And then in terms of appointments, we are still searching for appointments for the Drug-Free Schools Committee, the Committee on LGBTQ Affairs, and the Student Health Advisory Committee.
Any questions? I have one. Where do you have a list or a description of these appointments that you might be able to send us? Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you for the application. Okay, thank you.
This is a question/comment. Apparently some of the office, like the rooms in Murphy have been switched around. Like today was supposed to be 2206 and 2121. I'd recommend looking at the paper outside the room before walking in. An awkward run with admissions.
Oh my God, if we walked into the academic center and they're like, hi, my name's Did Sharma? And they were like, yeah, it makes it academic center outside, but it's actually a different group.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Good practice. Look at the papers.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Christina. We're moving on to FSC. Mary, whenever you're ready. There's no priorities at this time. Great. Facilities?
Yeah, so there's a new city ordinance, that will be making parkway parking or like parking on the grass between the sidewalk and the street illegal starting August 1st. Until then, violators will be cited with warning tickets. This is a type of parking that's pretty like prevalent over in North Village. So we want to make sure that students are aware that this is going on. So when they start parking in the fall, they don't get like a ticket slapped on their car. So we're gonna try and inform as many students as possible. I know DB's already reported about it in one of their Westwood Neighborhood Council meeting updates. But they're gonna try to inform more students as well. But I highly encourage you all to just inform as many students as possible because we don't want them getting cited or ticketed for information that they did not know about. Yes.
I'm confused on what type of parking that is.
Yeah. So
what do you mean?
So parkway parking is like, have you seen sort of like those strips of those like narrow strips of grass, sort of like close to the sidewalk? So like there's the road, and then you have like the sidewalk area, and then kind of in between there are just these patches of grass that you sometimes see cars on. I have a picture.
Oh, okay, because I didn't think you could park on grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't look legal.
Yeah.
It's like basically
What's not anymore?
okay.
All right, yeah, we'll be cool with the picture.
So August, yeah, it will be illegal starting August 1st, but as of now, violators will be cited with warning tickets. But after August 1st, they will have to pay a fine. Yeah, I'll send a picture in the group meeting so to make better understanding. Yeah, so second fellowship application is now open. It will be due October 6th at 11:59 p.m. We're also in the process of revamping TGIF for this upcoming year. So first, we do want to integrate TGIF into the far-reaching sustainability community on campus, whether that be different sustainability-oriented student groups as well as sustainability-oriented campus departments. Second, sustainable efforts don't only take sustainability groups on campus, but all of us. So we want to make sure that this TGIF committee that's going to be formed in October is informing and educating students on how they can be more sustainable in their programming and events over the course of the year. So we're trying to find better ways to do that. And once the committee is fully formed, we want to ensure that this committee is more of a leadership opportunity for students to be outreaching to different students, engaging them within sustainable efforts. And thirdly, there is an event, it's a national event called National Night Out, which is sort of like a Take Back the Streets initiative. Past studies have shown that communities that tend to know one another, like neighbors that actually know each other, because they're keeping an eye out for one another, crime rates tend to go down. And because of the recent muggings in Westwood, we want to try bringing a mini national night out over to the Westwood community, because especially in the apartment areas where there are no CSOs patrolling at night, certain areas of the apartments are not well lit. It's really important that students are looking out for one another in the apartment areas. So we are trying to bring a mini national night out event to campus on August 1st. If we are not able to, we want to have a similar event over the course of the year. Yeah, that's it for me. Yes.
So can you elaborate a little bit more on what programming and just what the night out would entail?
Yeah, so for National Night Out, we want to partner with either like Greek Life, like the North Village Apartments, partner with Res Life in some way, and have sort of like a pop-up display with the sorts of resources that are available to students in the apartment. So Office of Emergency Management, UCPP, just make sure that those resources are available to students, and then have an area just like available for students to just like get to know one another, like maybe have giveaways. Major National Night Out events in other cities have had different food, like different types of food that are like normally donated from the community. They have like different events on campus. So even if we have a very small event initially, I would eventually want to expand it into an annual event where we do have a major event in the apartment areas where students can gather and get to know one another.
What's the date of the?
So National Night Out this year is August 1st. So that's coming up pretty soon. Same with the parking ticket.
First Tuesday of August.
First,
Yes.
So putting it in simple terms, it's like a block party.
What?
It is?
Yeah.
Basically.
This is not
I can make a
awareness.
recommendation. Right now, the Westwood Neighborhood Council is being faulted for not being very student friendly, and it has been a little quite antagonistic towards students for the past few years. This may be an opportunity to build a relationship with them and recognizing that there is this national night out thing, and the Westwood Neighborhood Council is meant to serve our area as well as we are residents of Westwood, so maybe an opportunity to build that relationship.
Yeah, and I know the EVP office worked on creating that student engagement committee within the council, so we can definitely like work through there to establish like better relations as well.
So,
yeah, so definitely, Chloe, if you can hear me, I'll talk to you later.
Great. Any other questions for Zara? Are there any questions on the Skype? I should have checked in earlier. No? Great. We're now moving on to the administrative representatives. Any updates for us?
Good.
Great. Great. So if there are no other announcements, I just want to remind everyone, I should have said this earlier because Phoebe isn't here, but she is responsible for planning our USAC retreat. So and I'm trying to help her out and support a little bit now because she's out of town. So expect an email in the next few days to identify a date when we're all back in Westwood and commit to doing a day together. I would love for everyone to be as involved with planning what that day looks like as possible. So we'll also be looking for recommendations about what you'd like to see at the retreat as well. So if there are no other announcements, we'll now move our yes.
When are we planning to do the retreat this summer or in fall? Sorry.
So I think just for the sake of being fair to everyone and trying to get as many people there as possible, probably closer to the school year when everyone's back in Westwood. It'll probably, I assume, be a one-day thing just because I know we're all really busy. We'll try to work around as many people's schedules as possible. Yeah.
So we'll probably get into before.
Yes. Yeah. That'll we hoped it would have come out earlier, but. Yeah, right. Great. So we're now going to move on to any other questions or anything? Great. Yeah.
What past retreats look like? Does the council actually go off into somewhere, or
So,
do they just stay in a room?
I'm going to redirect that to people who've been on council before because I haven't ever been to a retreat. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did get that. Yes, you. Retreat last year was a lot of different people came to the council room and just like talked about what they were doing, kind of like gave us resources that we can reiterate to students that we know. It was a very informative session, but it would be nice to like get food, you know?
Amen.
I mean, yeah, go on a hike or something, I don't know.
So we will balance the fun and the content.
It's to like get outside and do something and like kind of get to know people. I know this council before our council, they have like a mini party, and it was a little messy, but it was cool. I mean, we could do that at my apartment.
Are you also?
Yeah.
In Connecticut? I'm kidding.
In Jamaica?
You know, this is all in
We yes, it is. So we will. Us as well about interest in being part of the retreat or doing some sort of presentation either at the retreat or otherwise. If Student Affairs wants to do a presentation on administration and letting everyone sort of know who serves where and what their contact info is, so you better understand those things. They've been allyship training. maybe like a presentation on the funding bodies so we can better understand what all the letters stand for, safety training if UCPD, and like a Title IX presentation. So there are content-heavy things, but we should absolutely balance the fun.
And also add that
please.
the VRC does a transfer allocation training, and they also go over, I'm like Heather Adams always seems to do for that. And it always goes over the different communities within the VRC and what the VRC states are represented.
Fantastic, thank you. So I'll send in an email and everyone can send in whatever ideas they have and we'll figure it out and schedule it. So we're now gonna move on to the funding allocations portion of our budget. We'll move to Pratik.
Sure. Last week, 3 organizations applied for 3 events. The total required by them was 3,105 cents. The total requested from them was 3,241 and 94 cents, and the total recommendation from FICOM was 2,060 and 30 cents.
Any questions? Yeah.
What's the Regent Scholar Society? Does anyone know?
Okay, so Regent Scholar Society is one of this academic group that really organizes events for people who have high scholastic achievement and at the same time are invested in pursuing academic pursuits such as research or in things in areas of their field. That's what the understanding of our committee is. At the same time, what these board members try to do is organize events for the benefit of their members, so that they can pursue some sort of like academic areas.
So they are students?
Yeah, they are students. They're yeah. I mean, all allocations from the agency are to student.
Oh, okay. So they're like the students with the highest GPAs that are wanting to pursue research?
Not necessarily research, but like research is one component of like some sort of academic pursuit that they might have, but it's like a policy group that comes together.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing no one, I'll entertain a motion to approve the outfunding allocation of $2,016.30. We'll continue to see. You get a motion? I can repeat the number if it's that hard.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve the funding for
$2,016.30. Thank you, Saran. Second. Thank you, Nicole. We're gonna go through and do our roll call once again. This is here we go. EVP.
Yes.
Thank you. Gen Rep 1. Here. Gen Rep 2.
Yes.
Gen Rep 3.
Yes.
AAC.
Yes.
CEC.
Yes.
Thank you. CSC.
Yes.
Thank you. Facilities.
Yes.
SWC. And TSR.
Yes.
Great. Seeing as all council members have voted affirmatively, this motion passes and the funding has been allocated. Seeing as we have no new business, we'll move right to announcements. Any announcements? Yes.
Going off of, I mean, I don't want to like take away Chloe's announcement, but tomorrow her office is hosting a phone banking in defense of DACA and like the new DREAM Act, the bill that was proposed. So that will be in Kirkhoff patio from noon to 2. And she has access to the script of what you can, who you can call and what you can say. And I would be more than happy to send that out to everyone if Chloe hasn't already. But yeah.
If you wouldn't mind doing so, just for those of us who can't be here physically on campus.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no problem. I will do.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Yeah.
I have a question.
Right.
The student journalists have a law to call.
I think so. I mean, they won't know. Like, you just, right?
I would also say too that in my past interactions too, I think having international students who technically aren't even voting for these people call is that much. It's really significant in that like you are going out of your way to have a voice. Yeah.
Expressing your support.
Just to make sure. Any other announcements? Great, seeing none, we will move to the vocal roll call of attendance before we adjourn our meeting. So I'm just gonna go through everybody. Present, President, IVP, EVP?
Here.
Oh, sorry, one more announcement from Chloe, you didn't catch that? Shout out to Jenner One and Facilities for co-hosting tomorrow's vote bank. Kudos to the two of you, and kudos to EVP as well, obviously. So yeah, sorry, it's not.
Happy to be back, y'all.
Happy to have you back. Thank you. So I'm just gonna do the roll call from the beginning, just for the sake of being thorough. President, present. IVP, EVP.
Here.
Gen Rep 1.
Here.
Gen Rep 2.
Here.
Gen Rep 3.
Present.
AAC.
Here.
CEC.
Here.
CFC.
She's here.
CAC. Facilities.
Here.
FSC.
Here.
SWC. And TSR. Great. Wonderful. Seeing as we've now done our roll call, we'll now entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Justin. Second. Thank you, Divya. We're gonna do the vote one more time. Here we go. It's just to adjourn. EVP.
Yes.
Great. Gen Rep 1.
Yeah.
Gen Rep 2.
Yes.
Gen Rep 3.
Yes.
AAC. CEC.
Yes.
CSC.
Thumbs up.
Great. Facilities.
Yeah.
FSC. Oh, sorry. Proxy, forgot. SWC. And TSR. Great. We've officially adjourned. We can turn off our
Good
So, good luck.